Well, have a good dream.
Okay. Thank you, Javon. And thank you for tuning in. Ah, love that sound. When I was in the mystery school years ago, they had this cupboard, an old piece of furniture with glass shelves, and this was on, and I don't know how much it was. I think it was like $60 or something, and at the time I didn't have that kind of money, but I bought it, and it's been with me 54, a long time, long time. I love my clears the energy. Well, welcome to Psychic Frank's Mystery School. That's my email address there if you want to get a hold of me. And tomorrow is No King's Day. I will definitely be it'll be the 18th of October. And I only live a few blocks away from City Hall. So I will definitely be there at the Civic Center tomorrow at 3 o'clock. I think it's 3:30 to 4:30. I won't be marching, but I'll make my presence, Bill. So if you want to look for me tomorrow at between 3 and 4 at the Civic Center, I'll be there. You know, we're going to talk more about that because Pluto just went direct the other day. Pluto, the planet of death, destruction, and rebirth. And uh, and uh, and what's going on is, I said, Saturn and Neptune will both back up into Pisces. They're backing up into Pisces, and they're forming a grand trine in Pisces until January 2026. And this is especially good for water signs: Scorpio, Cancer, Pisces. Of course, you got Jupiter in Cancer. Uh, I'm looking for I had them all written out here. Jupiter in Cancer. Well, I could just open this up. And It's about making of course, the Saturn Neptune conjunction, which is exact. It's a very, very rare and very, very potent. Pam Gregory, the British astrologer, went back thousands of years and couldn't find it. Could not find the last time Saturn and Neptune were exactly 0 degrees Aries, 00. And we're blessed to have that happen for us. And I'm just thrilled what's going on. Now, I came up in the 50s where morons like Carl Sagan, that son of a creep, be on Johnny Carson, and they'd be hucking it up, laughing at the expense of people who were blessed with psychic ability, or even men who wore earrings or stuff like that. And not only was I gay and in a closet because I had to be, or I'd get killed because I was living on Long Island, and coming out back there was a death sentence back then. It was such a different world. I mean, we're so blessed in so many ways, in every way. Not condoning the rough stuff, but that's life. Life is hard. Once you get that, it gets easier. Um, and Yeah, and so now, as I said, and then in high school, like all the guys that one guy especially, I don't even remember his name, but he's been on the NASA gravy train for the last, I don't know, since high school. And that I graduated in '67. I'm gonna be 77. Sunset Strip. I'm gonna be 77 come November next month. I'm loving it. I'm loving it, and I'm in perfect health and drug free. I smoke cannabis like a chimney, but that's my own thing. And I do that so I won't go blind because they found this disease in the back of my eyeballs that there's no cure for, and you go blind. But I'm not buying that. But anyway, enough about me. Yeah, the war on poverty has become the war on the poor. And as I said, it was Ed Lee who destroyed the middle class here in San Francisco, created the housing crisis. I think it was Gavin Newsom was mayor when let this whole thing happen. And then, of course, Hurricane London Breed came along and totally, twisted the knife. See, these, and now once again, we've been attracting these mayors of the city, male and female, who have these deep psychic wounds, and then they, London Breed is responsible for her daughter, her sister's overdose on drugs, because she was against harm reduction. Harm reduction, cannabis harm reduction is the way out. But and then we get London, this creep. Boring, gory Dory there, whatever his name is, Laurie, gory Dor Laurie. Yeah, he's a piece of work. Yeah, nothing. I'm not criticizing. I'm just for the sake of our the city I adore. And just straightening things out. I mean, he's got a psychic wound that goes back to when he was a kid. I mean, his mother couldn't even stand the sight of him. His billionaire mother sent his ass to a all-male boarding school. So in most kids his age, 13, 12, 13, 14, right when you're going into puberty, he who knows what torture he had. Being a Jew, that did probably not a plus. It's just like, we've only had three Jewish mayors since the creation of the city of San Francisco, and you think being the fourth, Dianne Feinstein was the third, and then she hooked up with the vulture capitalist Bloom, and thank God she slapped the shit out of him or something because he was in the midst of wanting to get rid of the postal service and privatize post offices. So thank God, she had the common sense to, tell him, no, not on my dime. I'm doing this on my name. And now we have this guy, totally obtuse, excuse for a human being, who's totally got a psychic wound. A blind psychic could see it from across the country, and who's totally not paying any attention to and buddied up with that Scott Wiener creep. I don't know what's going on with. Thank God, hopefully there'll be some OAC will be our next president, but Gavin Newsom, when he totally couldn't stand the sight of the homeless. He wanted to homogenize San Francisco to look like Mill Valley, and all the interracial colored people and different race people would stay in their little section, waiting for the bus to truck them in and out of Mill Valley or whatever, and then all of a sudden something happened to him. He saw the light. And now so you would think, and then I'm not going to mention it anymore, but I got to get it out there. You think, after all the bad reputation Jewish people have had since before World War II, and that he would want to do something to, say, we're all not money hungry creeps. We care about human beings. We care about social injustice. And Hair. I was one of the fortunate people who got to see Hair when it opened on Broadway. Jerome Raggi there. I was it was the first couple of weeks. One of my buddies, I was in acting school then in Manhattan, and he said, "Hey, let's go see Hair tonight. I got a couple of tickets, front row seats." He said, "Orchestra seats." And he said, "We'll split a tab of acid." It's far out. Man, I was never the same. Yeah, it was. We were sitting in the first couple of rows, and then all of a sudden, I heard something was crawling under my seat, and it was a naked man, and then a naked woman, and then these naked people would crawl up on the stage and start singing Aquarius, Aquarius. And then there's that song, Easy to Be Hard, Easy to Be Cold. You care about people and social injustice. Do you only care about the bleeding? So, how about a needing friend? I need a friend. These people need a fucking friend, Daniel Laurie. Jesus Christ, man. Somebody slap you and snap you out of this, man. You have an opportunity to just like Ed Lee set the Chinese community back decades, hundreds of years probably. And then London Breed didn't help the black community. And then you come along giving the Jewish community a black eye where you could actually be making up for all the bad Jews. So enough of that, because I know right now people are probably going nuts. Oh, Psychic Frank's anti-Semitic. No, I'm just telling it like it is. You're not going to come in as a vulture capitalist and screw my people up. You're not going to do it, man. You're not going to do it. And you've only got, so as I said, enjoy your time in office, because if I have anything to say about it, you're either going to change or we're going to get you impeached. Enough about that. The game is on now. We've given you plenty of opportunities now to rethink the whole cannabis thing that London breathed through under the bus, and you're just jerking us. So you're not even jerking us off. You're not even listening to us. We want an audience. Do you hear what I'm saying? God, oh, mercy. See, this is the thing. I'm loving this man. That's why I'm saying this shit. You got a psychic wound. It's like a ton of bricks on your back. You hate your mother, obviously, as I said, and don't pick it out on us. Well, see, what's going on now? Neptune just went retrograde. It's in Aries today, 0 Aries, where it was a few months ago. And it's going to back up now until February 26th, when the conjunction happens between Saturn and Neptune. That's very, very rare and very, very potent. So since 2011, 2012, Venus has been in Pisces, the most spiritual combination you can get. And so that's the reason we got. This is going to lead into Three Eye Atlas. I think we've done a lot, because I did a reading the other day on Three Eye Atlas, and this is the most beneficial thing. I've been on a high ever since that. I haven't been even smoking that much. I'm realizing, wow, I don't need to get high now. I've been just on a natural high since I'm tuning into the vibrations that are coming off this Atlas 3i. Putting it another way, there is a 99.4% probability that this is not a coincidence. Yeah, see, in 1977, there was another interstellar object like not as like Atlas 3i, and it was picked up, and then it's called the Wow Chronicle, because one of the scientists who was writing down, because all of a sudden, because ever since 19, the first spotting of an asteroid, there was this sound that went off in the galaxy, off of this interstellar being is what it is. It's a product of an interstellar being, and it lasted 72 seconds, and then and for decades after that they were tuning into this. No, they would had the stories mixed up there. So here we go now. So they were tuning into this frequency, and then all of a sudden, instead of these small little frequencies, a few little numbers, this huge sound emitted from this object, and it lasted 72 seconds, and the guy who was writing it wrote WOW exclamation point, and it's called the Wow Chronicle there, because they don't understand because to have that sound in the middle of space where they were traveling from would take enough power, more than Hoover Dam could put out, and 3 Mile Island there, because all these nuclear plants, there was that much power off of this thing. So, and now here we come again with 3 so what we want to do now, this energy is interstellar beings, is the being of energy, being of energy of love. This interstellar happening now. It's a cigar shaped, and these cigar shaped things have been noticed since the Renaissance, when the old masters were painting pictures. They would include these things. So these are very rare, but they do. This is an energy of pure love. We're going to reinvent. We're going to have much more respect for autistic children now. I think the crisis now with more and more autistic children are coming in, because they're the ones who are the sensitive ones. They are more heart and more soul than all these scientists put together. These guys are all there. See, that's the thing now. Since Carl Sagan and excuse me. With NASA, and all the, and of course the military now, they can't wait, this Star Wars, Hollywood. Oh God damn you, Lucas, for that. But anyway, I mean, you didn't know what you were doing. So this whole so we are connected to the cosmos by our hearts, and our birth charts are etched in our heart. See, this Pisces now, this last couple of months of Neptune in Pisces, and then Saturn is already in Pisces, backed up into Pisces. So it's time now to really, what started in 2012, 11 and 12, to really start go. Water is purification. Find our North Star, and then and realize the shit from the Shinola now. The other day, President Vance was talking about the great man, Charlie, what was his name? The one that just got assassinated. He was a sick son of a bitch. Every single person who died in Vietnam, who I knew, who I went to high school, all the wars that were fought by our forefathers, and then this guy comes along. Yeah, America's free, everybody could talk. But as I said, he was no American hero. He was, see, Donald Trump is the wrecking ball. He wants to destroy. His life is so miserable, and he's such a turd. Neptune is going to be 29 degrees again. Pisces shadow is the victim consciousness. Use this to shed this. We are to step into the mystery now, living from the inside out, not from the outside in. In other words, not from trickle down, but from trickle up. The universe, this is the magical mystery tour. The universe is mystical. And see, what's happening now is a lot of people have done a lot of inner work on themselves. Of course, we don't get the press, if it bleeds, it leads. If it thinks, it stinks. Socrates said there's no illness in the body apart from the mind. And yet we have the pharmaceutical industry now, direct to consumer, the pharmaceutical ads. We're taking an egg beater to people's minds, just wrecking their brains, telling them, you have this disease in you waiting to come out. Yeah, you're the disease. All these people that send their kids to advertising agencies. Do you realize you're creating the Antichrist? All for money now. There was 600. The output of a large nuclear power plant, more powerful than Hoover Dam, created that 72 sound. So this created being, extraterrestrial being, is millions and billions, who knows, of years old now, and that's why we're being permeated now. If you're picking up my excitement, it's not anger. I had a hunch. I had to hide my psychic ability, and then psychiatrists, I gladly, believed them that I was mentally ill, and I bought it, so as I said, in many respects, in '82, when I left my body and I went somewhere, my mind sent me back. And this is why. And it's not to be an anti-Jew person. If I didn't love Daniel Laurie, I wouldn't even mention it. I just go ahead and let him run ragged and do what he's going to do, and let them stone him. Do whatever they're going to do with him. Those who make peaceful revolution impossible will make violent revolution inevitable. JFK said that in 1962. Remarks at the first anniversary of the Alliance for Progress. I was watching a clip of JFK the other day talking about, giving a lecture in the 60s about how not only mental and physical fitness, and people were really, it was a whole fitness kick. Daniel Laurie, when your mother was my age, psychoanalysis was real big. Carl Jung, we could use that. We could have it. We should have that come back now. But of course, there's no money in people doing that. Oh yeah, that's another good thing I found. Extraordinary talent, professional and specialized vocations, exceptional students. According to the above list, Donald J. Trump couldn't get in America. Ben Franklin said, ignorant people never remain free people. Democracy cannot survive too much ignorance. What was his name? The special needs president who started the quagmire with Dick Cheney. W. Bush. George W. Bush now. Oh, yeah, he dumbed down America. Everybody, dumb and dumb, big and dumb and full of cum. I don't understand these people. We got corn-fed morons, and now we've got martial law happening. People are being dragged out of their car by the color of their skin and beaten and taken away. It's happening, man. It's happening. And this son of a bitch and man we have isn't getting the phones open here. What the hell's wrong with you, Daniel Laurie? I'm tired of being nice to you. I'm tired of kissing your ass, and I'm going to start kicking it verbally. Get the goddamn fucking words. The media now. This is it. This is it, you stupid son of a bitch. If you care one thing, if you want to fight the stigma about being a money-hungry Jew, show us what you're made of and get the goddamn get that stuff comments working again. God damn you until you do the right thing. Sorry about that outburst now, but I've been trying to be nice and I can't. And this guy's more and more. He's fucking wasting all of everybody's time just strengthening the war on poverty, not taking one iota, not one bit of responsibility for that Hurricane London breed who totally destroyed this goddamn city. What was left of it after that bastard Ed Lee, God, thank God they took him out. He was so bad. And London breed was so bad, Maui, Hawaii set itself on fire so she would step on there. And yet you haven't restored the noise department. There was a noise department. All these departments that made San Francisco livable for the residents who are paying the highest. New York City's got Zohar there. I love this guy. And he's kicking ass. He's telling all these people like you, whatever your name is, Lori. Yeah, because you're just one of a million money-hungry creeps. Forget about your religion thing and how you're setting the Jewish community back more than they ever were. People are going to figure it out. Once again, after New York starts getting this renaissance happening now. Oh, they're hating him now. See, they're getting rid of people like you, Lori, and all the shit from New York has come out here now. And these are the people that gave you $1,200 million. And what are you doing with it? Wiping your ass with it? You're not helping us. You're not helping the cannabis community. You're not helping the people on the street who want to be loved. And show them the love by getting the cannabis harm reduction. And that asshole friend of you, Scott Wiener now, the alcoholic wet brain, he's got a deal going on with the liquor industry. They were against cannabis legalization. They were against harm reduction. And now they got that son of a bitch on your best friend list. So, I'm just tired of that. If I don't get to do another show, then fine. At least I went out with a bang and my conscience is clear. But I'm not going to sit around and I can't even stand to see your face on TV. That's how much I disgust me because you deceived me. You deceived all the voters. You were going to be creative. You're just a cookie cutter. You're London breed on acid. Okay, let me cut the cards. Let me shake this shit off now. I'm glad I got in here, And this might be my last show. I hope the good Jews out there understand, what this motherfucker is doing. Excuse my language, but there's no other word for this guy. He's got mother issues. All these guys that are men and women that are supporting Donald Trump, and then whenever they're talking to an audience of one. Donald J. Trump. Whenever Mayor Daniel Lee of San Francisco is talking, he's talking to one person only, his mother, his billionaire mother. He's got this psychic wound now. His mother couldn't, Daniel Lee, your own mother couldn't stand the sight of you. That's why she sent your ass away. Okay, let's cut the cards here and let's see what's going on now. I hope we get to meet. I hope you're enough of a man to understand. You pushed me to say this shit. You pressed me into this point. I didn't want to be here. I got Venus in Libra. I'm a nice guy. And it conjuncts Libra and Neptune there in Libra. So to get me to do what I just did now, I had to it was a stretch for me. And I had no joy in doing this. But what did it take to get through to you? What did the goddamn take to get through your thick, money-hungry head? Money isn't the answer. It's a help. And don't you understand, the nature of this city is a healing city. People come here to heal physical, emotional wounds. And you may try to make it like Gavin Newsom. He wants to make this another Monaco for the rich. I don't know what the hell his... Well, I got to study his chart. And then, as I said, there are people... So as I said, I really hope I do get thrown over here. At least that will put me on the map. I feel better about myself. So I have nothing to lose now. I am so goddamn low on the totem pole. Where are you going to fall off the floor? What are you gonna do to me? I have no fear for you. I grew up with money hungry Jews like you, so get away from here. Just get out of my head. Get out of my head. Because there are good Jews. I know them. I love them. You're not one of them. You're just a cliche excuse for a human being. Let me cut the cards now. And let's talk about what I was getting today, yesterday rather. I was doing a tarot card reading on it. And wow, um, I realized the other day, wow, I only smoked like, a few puffs of weed the other day, a couple of days that I realized. That's from, usually I'm chain smoking weed. And all of a sudden I'm not. And even today, I think I had one puff this morning, and so I'm as straight as I'm going to get now. I'm not, as I said, I have to keep smoking because the eye doctors and surgeons told me the macrodegenerative eye disease could come back. It could take over if I stop smoking weed. So, as I said, it's a medicine, and it's a beautiful, and it just happens to be not a stretch. I do enjoy it, but the fact is. I was in this really interesting place, and I tuned into Atlas 3I Atlas there. You make a point of mindfully relaxing into flow. When you're in the flow, things get rough. Just because you're in flow doesn't mean the rest of your life's going to be ice skating when hell freezes over. I'll skate. No, you're going to have rough days around. Mama said there'll be days like this. But as I surrendering to the ease of the natural rhythm of life is one of the superpowers that Pisces offer. So yeah, Pisces, as I said, brings along with it the shadow of Pisces is this victim network, victim mentality. Victims don't heal. This is happening for us, not to us. As I said, I was a nice guy for, how long has Daniel Lee been mayor? Oh yeah, so tomorrow's No King's Day, and I've been dancing around the wounds, and then I just said, I can't let the son of a bitch keep on doing this shit. People they're down to two. They're finding 2 dead bodies a day now in San Francisco. I guess that's an improvement, but cannabis reduction, cannabis harm reduction, cannabis harm reduction. Many people are all about this, And in a couple of years, what's going to happen, Daniel Laurie? Pluto's going to hit your sun, and you were warned. I'm warning you now. Shape up. Okay, let me cut the cards. Okay, so let's see what the message is for Atlas 3I Atlas, 3I Atlas, 3I Atlas. What is the message for the people that are watching me right now? Oh, it's all about our heart chakra. It's being accompanied now by 2 comets who are interstellar. And they're all about, this is all guiding us to heal, to connect, and to reconnect. We're so unconnected now. We become obtuse to, we've all become Daniel Laurie's. We got the mayor that the popular deserves. 3I, okay, so here's the layout with Atlas 3I. They just told me to read this. The 3I Atlas passed Mars on the 3rd. Extraordinary time. That just happened last couple of weeks ago. On July 1st, it'll be the closest to the sun. And on the 29th, we'll pass the sun. And on October 2nd, that will pass Venus on November 3rd. See, what's going to happen on the end of February is the Venus, the Saturn, Neptune conjunction. That hasn't happened for thousands and thousands of years. And it's all about making our dreams real. A dream is a wish your heart makes, Pay attention to your dreams. Put a stone or any kind of metal, your favorite stones around your heart. Talk to your heart. Hearts want to communicate with us. Like I said, before you were born, your whole life was etched into your astrological chart and into your heart. Talk to your heart and knows everything. When I do chakra alignments, I put my hands on people's heart, and I see all this stuff, And those of you who are watching me are psychics, you know what I'm talking about, I want the psychic fairs to come back. I want them to be free. I want them to be guarded. I want them to be in Golden Gate Park. I want them to be quiet places where we could maybe have a little, violin music in the background or something, but none of this loud crap. None of this. Hayes Valley is under just a German bar, an outdoor bar that's been terrorizing Hayes Valley, and you ain't done shit to help us, Ed Lee. I mean, yeah, I called you Ed Lee. You're Ed Lee to me. You're no difference between you and Ed Lee, except your eyes aren't slanted. When and then Venus will on November 11th come as close to the Earth. It'll pass Venus on November 3rd, and then come as close to the Earth on December 19th, and then bypass and then pass Jupiter on the March 16th. So by the end of February is this conjunction, but very extraordinary, very potent conjunction about making our dreams come true on the end of February. And then in March, 3i Atlas will March 16th as it moves out of our solar system. But and I don't believe it will see the last of that. And then what's going to happen between March and a few months after that is there's going to be 5 planets and a few asteroids, all 0 degrees, all on that Saturn Neptune conjunction. So no matter if you have your birth chart, look for any on the outside anything between 0 and 2 degrees. On any planet, 0, 2 degrees, any house cusp, 2 degrees, 0, 2 degrees, because that's where all this action is going to be happening. For the United States of America, it's going to be happening on our midheaven. I looked, and we didn't have, I know we have 5-degree Jupiter, that's not 1 to 2. 0 to 2, 3 degrees. Now that's not going to fit. No, 1 degree Libra, our midheaven. Our 10th house cusp, house to take responsibility for yourself. Be an adult. We are adults of God. Most people are. I talk to a lot of people, and a lot of people who are not doing readings with me know I'm a psychic, and they'll just come right out to me and they go, "Frank, I'm so lonely." And here's this book now, Mind Over Medicine, by revised edition by Lisa Rankin. She doesn't talk about cannabis, but she's pretty good. And she says, we need another soul to cling to. And she talks about with all this communication going on and everything, people are really lonely. And this doctor and his team were committed to figuring out why people of Rosetta were so immune to disease. Attempting to answer this question, researchers poked, prodded, and examined and interviewed 2/3 of the village's adults. Dr. Wolf initially suspected they must have some old world dietary practice making them more immune to infection. Perhaps it was the olive oil, so they hired 11 dietitians to follow the people of Roseto to the grocery stores and watch them cook. But that wasn't it. Unable to afford olive oil, the healthiest option, the people of Roseto cooked with lard, and they routinely ate pizza loaded with sausage, pepperoni, salami, and eggs. And in fact, it's shocking, 41% of their calories came from fat. Rather than Italian Americans in Roseto weren't physically fit, the fact that most smoked, remained sedentary, and were obese so what else might explain our disparity? Yeah, we're lazy. It's all with the boom when we in the 50s when we became consumers and the advertising agency decided make good lazy boy furniture. You deserve to be lazy. No, we're only here for such a short time. Don't waste any. If you do what you love, like Einstein said, the most beautiful experience we could ever have, the most beautiful experience we could experience is that of the mystical. Before I get to the cards, we have plenty of time here. This is again about healing. I'm sort of back and forth here because it is all about healing. When I was in recovery, people would talk about this spiritual aspect of life. There is no other. It's all spiritual. If you don't know that, then you will. especially over the next couple of years. Every medical student learns, at least in passing, that the mind can affect the body. They learn that some people get better when they believe falsely they are getting medicine. When patients get better by ingesting a sugar pill, medicine defines it as placebo effect. And he talks about found the psychic PSYCHK energy-based psychology treatment system suggested that it would be more appropriate to refer to it as perception effect instead of placebo effect. I call it the belief effect to stress that our perceptions, whether they are accurate or inaccurate, equally impact our behavior and our bodies. I celebrate the belief effect, which is an amazing testament to the healing ability of the mind-body. Amen to that. However, the all in their minds placebo effect has been linked by traditional medicine to, at worst, quacks or at best, weak suggestible patients. The placebo effect is quickly glossed over in medical school so that students can get to the real tools of modern medicine like drugs and surgery. That's where the big money is. This is a giant mistake. The placebo effect should be a major topic of study in medical school. I believe that medical education trained doctors to recognize the power of our internal resources. Doctors should not dismiss the power of the mind as something inferior to the power of chemicals in the scalpel. They should let go of their conviction that the mind, the body, and its parts are essentially stupid and that we need outside intervention to maintain our health. Amen to that. You know, Daniel Laurie, you're relatively young. I'm 77, so everybody your age is kind of younger than me. You're going to get sick one of these days, man. And you're going to want an appointment with me. And I'll forgive you for being an asshole. The placebo effect should be the subject of matter. Founded research efforts. The medical researchers could figure out how, your best friend, Scott Wiener, he thinks he could stand in front of a black supermarket, a black Safeway in a black neighborhood, and that's going to people forgive him for all the crap he's doing. He's a piece of shit. You got to call them as they see it, man. Because I'm only 77, but, I got a long time to live. But I'm running out of time here. I want to leave this planet and say, I woke a couple of people up. And I don't hate these people. What I call him? Wiener. But, because I can't prove it, but I'm sure if the FBI investigated him, they would see he'd been greasing his palm by the alcohol industry. And throwing cannabis harm reduction under the bus. And all people have left cannabis. I'm probably the only one left who remembers Access of Love. Even the founders of Access of Love threw us under the bus. I don't even talk to her anymore because I ate so much shit dealing with her that I would get a stomach ache. So thank God she's out of this whole picture. Can't even remember her name. Okay, let's see what we got now. What can we got? What do we need to know? What is Atlas 3I? Yes, this is totally beneficial. This cavalry is coming. We've got this cavalry of planets and asteroids all lined up to support us. Oh, and they say now that tomorrow is going to be a no-show. They got a big surprise. In America and all over the world, No King's Day is going to be outrageous. And I believe they're going to have paid insurgents come in. They're going to definitely pay armed people to come in. You watch. Because Congress, what was it, Mike Lee? Mike Lee said that they don't want. They're afraid that there'll be violence. If there's violence at these at the No Kings parade, peaceful protest, it's because of them, the Gestapo. We've got a thug. We got a Gestapo thug, an ignorant. Well, they're all Gestapos are ignorant. Okay, let's see what we got now. Where we're coming from. Next year, things will be a whole lot. Tough times don't last, tough people do. Yes, this is the message I'm getting here. It starts actually January 1st. The vibration changes from 2025 to 2026, which equals 1. And that's when all the cavalry comes in. But at that time, too, Pisces and Saturn will both still be in Pisces. So this whole spirituality thing, of course, with Jupiter in Cancer, it's all about holistic healing, alternative healings. I can't tell you, I've been doing healings now with 30, 40 years, 40, close to 40 something years. And so many times people who I begged, and they say people that heal, their doctors hate them because they never stood up. They're asking questions. Why this? Why that? Why? Doctors can't stand them. That's the people that heal. The people that just take everything and then walk out of the office with their tail between their head, tail between their legs, and go home and die. No, no, no. And then at the last, and then they call me just as they're ready to take their last breath, and they go, "You were right, Frank. I keep on telling them, this son of a bitch isn't going to die for you. Why don't you ask him these questions now?" Oh, and they'll even tell me, they show me, they make house calls and they take out this shoebox full of pills and they're telling me, oh, but there's no side effects. It's like, do I look as stupid as you think I look? No, I'm not stupid. There's not one drug that doesn't have a side effect. Cannabis, yeah, I guess if you abuse it, it has some kind of a side effect. I haven't found it yet. The only side effect of cannabis is its unavailability and the expense for the good shit. But back when cannabis was just passed and Access of Love was big, we were getting harm reduction, was really getting on its feet. People were donating, growers were donating pounds and pounds of best kind of cannabis you could have. AAA grade, beautiful cannabis, and we were giving pounds of it away. Well, London Breed put her foot down. That wasn't going to happen on her watch, of course. And then she kept on throwing her sister. She got votes because she was telling people her sister died of a some kind of an overdose. I guess most people assumed it was because of. No, it was because cannabis could have helped her. Cannabis was proven to have helped. So, yeah, the good news is it's all good news. I'm not condoning where we are now, but I'm glad it's here. I've been waiting since the 60s, since that bastard Carl Sagan was making a mockery. I mean, I had my hands full of being in the closet, being gay at 12, 13 years old, and I knew I was psychic. And then this guy comes along and tells people, makes a mockery of my life. No, 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 it ain't going to happen. Okay, what we're dealing with now is, it's interesting because the cards I picked yesterday about the 3-I-1, this card came up, and also the 9 of Swords, which I'll read to you. From this book called Melinda Lee Holm, Tarot Guide, Learn to Navigate Life with the Help of Cards. And I have a time with words, so she helps me a lot here. Because she's so eloquent with her. So the Tower card is 16. The Tower card teaches us to break down long-standing beliefs that have solidified into false truths. Like that guy who died of Lou Gehrig's disease, Stephen Hawking, who science puts him like right there with Jesus. That moron. Yeah, he lived in a scary place, and I have sympathy for anybody with that hideous disease where your body literally turns against you and cripples you, and you die a miserable death. I have total empathy and compassion with that. But consider the source from that was coming out of that guy's mouth. He said, pretty much exact, if extraterrestrial life, what kind of an ego there? Yeah? If extraterrestrial life did exist, it exists for one reason, to eat us. He actually did that. And science believes he's there. And then NASA, and then the government's all about the day the Earth stood still, shooting the android, Noctu Barada Nectu. Was Michael Rennie, the astronaut who came in from outer space to save America. He takes the kid to the movies and pays with diamonds. I love that movie, The Day the Earth Stood Still. And the military shoots him. We're right now on war with ourselves. That's why we need to bring back psychoanalysis. When you shrug and say, quote unquote, that's just how it is, you come up against the tower. When the tower card visits, it's time to tear it down. Swing the wrecking ball. Destruction is not always a bad thing. Many of the towers. Yeah, the liquor industry needs to be waned in. It needs to go, actually. The World Whole World Organization, WWW, that Donald Trump hates. And 2 years ago, I think in 2023, said that I think it was a quarter cup, a half a cup of alcohol in your cocktail, followed by 3 or 4 glasses of water, was acceptable. Now they've taken that back, and their latest result, after years and years of research and dedication, came up with 0 goose egg amount of alcohol is good for any human body. And they listed from every part of your body it's harmful to. So yes, some industries need to go. Many of the towers we've built or inherited are unhelpful or even damaging. Do you really want to keep believing that you are not allowed to call yourself a real artist? That you have lived your life just like your parents? That you're not wanting children makes you selfish, that wanting children makes you unambitious? Of course you don't. Throw that tower card in a welcome party and kick the sledgehammer, or pick up a sledgehammer. The tower is disruptive. It does not care what is on your calendar. It does not care what your obligations are or your party affiliation. Make contingency plans for everything and get as much done ahead of time as you can. Well, these planets are in Pisces now that have to do with your spiritual life, because that's all there is. When everybody's so preoccupied doing things for themselves, everything for them, and there is no self. We are all connected. All these people that our mayor refuses to acknowledge, they're parts of him. You're hurting yourself, Daniel Laurie, more than you're hurting them. And you're hurting them a lot by your being ignorant. Get a set of balls, man. It's going to take courage to stand up against all these people. And you're just too much of a wimp. God damn it, man. What's the guy to do? I tried being nice to you since you were elected, and you're getting worse and worse and worse. And we're getting more and more in trouble because of you. You, man. It's all up to you. You can re-summon that whole let's think, cannabis harm reduction. You can tell your friend Wiener, hey, shut up, okay? You had your chance. He'll get it. And that, that reminds me now, what I was saying earlier. Giving people the option to heal and suffer is respecting their process. So, I respect that. Okay, if that's his shit, but when it affects the masses, people I've been part of since I became conscious in '82. Okay, let's see what we're afraid of now. We're afraid that, we've had so many false starts now. It's sort of like the dog. What was it, Pavaco, the name of the dog, or they wire the cage with electricity, and every time the dog tries to get out, he gets a bad shock. Eventually, the dog just says, well, I'll just sit here and die. That's what happened. Their empathy now is, they have the lack of empathy just is there. It's palatable. And the only one that Daniel Laurie has empathy for is this $12 billion, his $1 billion mother and his 12 rich donors who all donated tax free to him $100,000. That's $1,200,000. That's a lot of money, Daniel Lee. What did you do with it? Are you using it to wipe your ass with? Because we ain't seeing shit. We ain't seeing nothing here. It's worse than ever. It's worse than ever. It's not as bad as Donald Trump says, but as I said, but it's as far as Donald Trump could, he'd come along with a truck and just sweep up there. He'd have no empathy. He'd be worse than you. He would sweep them up in an ambulance and just dump them in the ocean, in the bay. He has no respect for anybody who isn't one of his rich friends. Oh, he's gonna get his one of these days. What do they say? Groucho Marx said it originally, and then John Lennon picked it up about Oh, it's it'll come to me later about oh, it'll come back to me. It's this thing about I hate that it's in my mind. Oh, about anyway. Okay, what do we want? Where we're going now is okay, the money thing. Yeah, we've gotta get, as I said, no King's Day going, and then come the spring, come November, this next November, we gotta get a whole bit of Congress in there and do all. But all these, as I said, things we don't have to wait that long. I believe between now and the spring, uh, things are going to change for the better. I think this is all benevolent. I believe those. See, the science, NASA's literally shitting a brick now. Their worst fear has been intelligent life, which is totally benevolent. No wars. You know, it was they would have to open their hearts, and they're too twisted for that. Okay, fearing what's going on for us now is to celebrate. Like the new man says, wear dinosaur frog costumes tomorrow, dance, party, make it a party, make it a celebration. And I believe there'll be ice people tomorrow here in San Francisco. And I hope there's no violence, but I know there will be. Mike Johnson, the head of Congress there, said, yeah, there'll be. So I know they're going to be parade agitators tomorrow. And I will be at City Hall at 3. I'll be there at 3 o'clock tomorrow. I won't be marching, but I'll definitely be at City Hall, Civic Center, and listening to everybody. So let's celebrate tomorrow or King's Day. Spend time alone. And then, as I said, the world's just friends you haven't met yet. You know, we'll talk more about this, but if you want to read about the toxicity of, uh, I made some notes about how heinous loneliness is. It can okay, this is another thing. Mackie's conjuncting Venus right now. That's a wonderful asteroid. A new aspect of consciousness is not being discovered. It's emerging that we've always had. It's being uncovered. It's like we don't have to become good. We've had goodness in us. It's always been there. We just have to let it come out now. Like people are saying, looking for love in all the wrong places. And I tell them, instead of looking for love, look for in you all the barriers you've put up against it. Those who make peaceful, okay, time to shed the veil and uncover what was always there for us as another expression of consciousness and our multidimensionality. Our multidimensionality. We're all multidimensional beings having a with human beings having a spiritual experience. Okay, this is a good one. I am shedding any victim consciousness from the past and step into to mastery and step into my mastery. Pisces shadow is victim consciousness. Use this to shed this as we step into our mastery. We're becoming human beings. We're not human beings. We're human becomings, and our goal is become human beings. And once again, what Ben Franklin said: ignorant people never remain free people. Democracy cannot survive too much ignorance. You know, it was like I got kicked in the head the other day watching The View. I love The View. I love Joy. I love Whoopi. Adore Whoopi. I love all those women, even the Republican one. You know, I love everybody. You know, and then Joy, I love, you know, who cares? Oh, yeah, she said, even Ronald Reagan did all these great things. No, Ronald Reagan did no great things. Every disaster we're living now is all, we point right his finger to Ronald Reagan. The middle class was never doing better. It had never been in the high 60%. I mean, it was after the killing of Dr. Martin Luther King, JFK, his brother, and all this. That the '60s were were really where the left really democracy was really starting to really show some. But no, the dark shadow wasn't through with us yet. The karmic debt wasn't paid. They needed that guy, Ronald Reagan, a B movie actor, a General Electric light bulb salesman who was made all those war movies. So naturally, all those World War II guys came back wanting medals. I said to this guy who, when I was on Facebook, he wanted a statue built for his troop. I said, "What do you guys want? A medal or a chest to pin it on?" It wasn't for us. I mean, I was going to go to Vietnam. My number didn't come up in the lottery. But when I was not, when I was stuck in New York City, uh, I I protested every time I could. Every time I could get a chance, I'd protest the war. And not one guy who made it back from Vietnam, who I went to high school with, had the decency to say, "Thanks for doing that, man." No, it's like I don't understand that at all. Goethe said, "Everything is hard before it's easy." Once you start understanding the whole, we've been organized religion is bullshit for the masses. It's all about our own individual sovereignty. If you need, I wrote it down. It's such a profound. If you don't know the difference between good and bad, you don't need religion. You're sick. I paraphrase that again. The health of a human being isn't as simple as thinking ourselves sick. It's as simple as thinking ourselves sick. That's what we do now. And the pharmaceutical, the direct to consumer pharmaceutical ads want you to get sick. They don't want a cure for cancer. There's no money in that. They're perfectly happy the way it is now, stressing you out, and they're just laughing all the way to the country club. The now signal, the wow signal, and this interstellar visit is not separate mysteries. They are the same mystery, separated by 48 years. And the constellation Sag, the signal jumped, not just a little jump, a massive jump, and lasted 72 seconds. A system upgrade for us is high intelligence is coming in for sure. The sun flares, the A3i Atlas, these are all getting into our consciousness now. They've figured it out. For millions of years now, they've been doing this to other galaxies. They're intergalactic. The Emperor says the highest incarnation of Emperor energy is a cunning commander whose primary objective is the well-being of all. Right now, we got Ed Laurie, who's well-being for the rich. And that's about it. More poison yourself. Get the liquor, Forget about harmless ways of getting high. Forget about the ecstasies you can achieve by working with psychic healers, So, he doesn't understand. I forgot more than he'll ever know. The cavalry is coming of comets and happenings in our skies are of great benefit to humanity. I'm glad you're watching this, and in a couple of months you'll say Frank was right. Okay, message to Libra folks. Be your well-balanced self. As Saturn and Neptune are in Aries, well, now they've backed up into Pisces, but they will return into Aries comes February 26th of next year. For the next few years, convince yourself that change is good. Natural, not faded, always upgraded. Capiche? Because they want you to believe the opposite. They want you to believe it's the right one don't get you, the left one will. It's one goddamn thing after another, yada, 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 yada. I'm not buying that. Let's see. Neptune has been wading through Pisces since 2011, and it will remain until 25-26. Neptune is the planet of dreams, delusions, inspiration, mysticism, and escape. Harmful ways to escape, are beneficial ways to escape. Escaping the love of an animal. I mean, animal love, pets, dogs. I don't understand people who can't I don't understand people who don't have pets. Maybe I guess if your job is that, be a good thing, you would make a horrible. But for the most part, I don't. I love animals. I love nature. I'm a tree hugger. You know what it's been like for tree huggers since Carl Sagan called us all insane. Neptune has purifying effect and washes away what does not hold substance anymore. Like a sharp, jaggedy rock that if you stepped on it, you'd bleed to death. You'd get a desperate cut, and you could literally die, get an infection and die. But the water, over thousands of will soak it off and make it like silk, and make it so smooth you could rub it on your face. It is a force of nature that overrides human mind and control all forms of resistance. When you're doing all these suggestions that we're putting out here, it's time to say your mind's going to say, "Oh, that's bullshit," or well, you did two or three, that's enough. You don't have to do any more affirmations than that. No, no, just driving down any street, you get bombarded by thousands every minute of advertisements and messages. So, giving yourself the same message 500 times a day is not the wrong. It's the way you do it. We didn't get this way. Like, it took a long time to get our minds all scrambled up with the egg beater, and it's not going to take a snap to get it that way. It's going to take a lot of effort to start realizing with the help. We can't do a lot. If you don't pray for yourself, you're not going to make it. But we're taught that's too much ego. I don't understand that. Okay, Nine of Swords. Knowing a lot is great, but the wisest know what they don't know. The ability to see, that's why NASA, the military, these are people who aren't wise now because they know it all. They know it all. The ability to see to the end of your knowledge allows you to push against the boundary and to marvel at the vast expanse of the universe beyond what we may never comprehend. Your experience and study have brought you to this place. Your investigations and explorations, you do not consume information, you engage with it. That's what I'm doing. That's what I want you to do, and that's the way we're going to get out of this rite of passage, I like to call it. Okay, well, that's about it for the cards. I would love to talk to you people, but our mayor says we don't need that now. He's he's not going to spend $1 to help the cannabis community, help sick people, help the suffering. He's beholden to those 12 people who gave him $100,000 apiece. And not only that's the only part that was printed in the paper and on the computer. There's a whole lot more money that this guy's. How good can you eat, Daniel Laurie? How do you even look in the fucking goddamn mirror? You're a pathetic piece of shit. Until you change your attitude, I'm not gonna cow down to you. I'm not a suck up. I'm not a sycophant like all these bastards in City Hall up your ass. No way. I'm a healer, man. And believe me, I have no hatred towards you. I have much pity. I have more pity for you than any person on the planet, especially with your best friend being that creep wiener. God, he's a fucking jerk. Excuse my language, but I have a feeling after that comment, a lot of people are going to not want me back here because they're going to call me anti-Semitic. Because the truth hurts. Prove me wrong. If not, I'll be back in 2 weeks. I'd love to stay here, but you know what? I have a life, and I just couldn't go on anymore. I bit my tongue so much it almost turned to chop meat because every time I see Daniel Laurie, and he is a card carrying, dues paying, vulture capitalist of the vintage of Ed Bloom, the Jewish guy Dianne Feinstein hooked up with, who wanted to privatize the post office. You're no better than Bloom, Daniel Laurie, and until our paths meet again, everybody, I'm out of here. I had a lot of fun. Sorry, the F word came out a few times, but I wind up my mouth, I center myself, and then I just let it go because I know what's coming through me. When I finish doing these readings, I go home and I do the cards and I say, well, how did I do today? Did I please you, God? I always get the high priestess, so I know God likes what I'm doing. Hey, that's the way it is. That's all I appeal to. I will to will your will. Man, what does it say? Schopenhauer, Einstein, I adored him. He said, "Man can do as he will, but he can't will as he will." So I'm not willing as I will. I'm willing God's will, and this is why I'm here now. There's my message here, Psychic Frank Mystery School. That's my YouTube channel. Psychic Frank is my name. And that's what I answer to. And psychicfrank11 at gmail.com if you want to send me an email. Tomorrow at 3 o'clock, look for me at the Civic Center. I'll be looking for anybody to do healings on. I do healings on sidewalks. Rainbow Grocery. The other day, I've got to end with this. Rainbow Grocery is my home away from home. I'm there every other day. I don't shop anywhere else for groceries. And I know they're like my family. Everybody there I know, and I've done healings on. Maybe the ones that are at the register, of course not, but where they're stacking shelves. I just this healing stuff comes out of me. And the other day I was checking out, and one of the guys said, "How's your shows coming, Frank?" I said, "Oh yeah," I said, "I don't like it, but I've got to really put Daniel Laurie in his place." And I said, "God," I said, "he's such a creep," and and this guy is really cool. He's a married guy, old enough to be my son. And I'm old enough to be his. I'm old enough to be his father, rather. And there was nobody else in line, but he called me over and he whispered in my ear, "He's a whore." So Daniel Laurie, everybody knows you're a whore. You're the only one that seems to be obtuse to that. Okay, I'll leave with that. I love you. Everybody, I do love you. Trust your heart. Give your mind a break, and I'll be back in 2 weeks. I love you.